remind people. People say, oh, look, he looks so unfit. Actually, Trump is very physically fit. He's never had a drink in his life, unlike some people I could mention.
He only weighs 250.
He's never had a drug, right? He's never smoked cigarettes, and he's only, what, 200 pounds or whatever?
215.
250,
yeah, we're all that, Donald. But he is, I think, physically and mentally, you can't. You may disagree with Trump's policies. You can't disagree with the energy levels, which are extraordinary. So you just compare like with like. But there are lots of people. So David Attenborough, the voice of wildlife around the world, is 97 years old. Have you ever seen a footage of him calling a gorilla a lion? Right? He just doesn't do it. So it's not about age, and he's 17 years older than Biden.
So, Piers, I hear he's accelerating over the last even 3 weeks. And do you think can you imagine the drama? You got like 6 or 7 people who think they are a better nominee but are afraid to do it. So they're going to be his surrogates. If things happen like these Hunter Biden revelations get too much, or he has one more fall, can you imagine the drama of Democrats having to put together a whole primary?
Well, the Democrats have got to look at themselves, right? They've got to work out, is this actually a good thing for the country? It's very hard at the moment in these tribal, toxic, partisan times for people to take a position that puts the country before party. But does any Democrat, 69% of Democrats in that recent poll think he's too old? They're Democrats,
Mostly
right?
Independents, too.
Are they really going to say that in 6 years' time, which if Biden was to run again and win, in 6 years' time, he's going to be having his finger on the nuclear button and we're going to feel comfortable about that? I think it's a crazy state of affairs.
A lot of Americans believe that Obama is actually, and his people, he and his people, Valerie Jarrett, et cetera, are running this government. But let's assume that Joe Biden does have that fall or that moment where, they just can't cover it up anymore. Who do you think would be the next person that the Democrats should put forward?
Well, I was actually...
That we should ask a Brit, but we might as well.
But he knows American culture.
I may as well poke my nose into your affairs. I think I always look to people who go into the lion's den of the opposition. So I was very interested when Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, did Sean Hannity. And I watched that interview and I thought that was really interesting and a bold and courageous thing for him to do. When they go into the lion's den, they've got that confidence. You may not agree with any policies that Newsom has, but if you're a Democrat voter and you look at Gavin Newsom against Joe Biden, you've got one who's young, fresh, dynamic, and is prepared to go and debate with the opposition.
Destroy the state, but I don't
by the
want to
way,
slow you down.
has Biden ever done Hannity? Has Biden
do
ever come on Fox and Friends? Of course he hasn't. So I think...
why doesn't he do it?
Well, I think if you're Gavin Newsom, you've got to be looking at this saying, again, what is the best thing for the country? Do you really believe, Gavin Newsom, that Joe Biden is fit to serve another 4 years in office? And if you genuinely are honest with yourself, you know he's not, and therefore the right thing to do is to run yourself.
You know what? Joe Biden has been on Fox and Friends. Toba, do we have that soundbite? Actually,
I'm Joe Biden. You're watching Fox and Friends, and I tell you what, you'll enjoy it.
When was that?
That was 2008.
Fantastic.
When he was running for vice president.
But that's interesting you say when he's a senator. There's some footage of him doing a speech.
He was running for vice president.
Right. So there's some footage on YouTube of Biden, I think, in his 40s, talking about apartheid South Africa. He is powerful. He's a firebrand. He's eloquent. He's articulate. He's a completely different looking and sounding man to the man currently in the White House. And if you want to see cognitive decline and physical decline, look at those two clips. Whereas Mick Jagger, go back to when he was in his 20s, strutting around with the Stones, and look at him now, apart from an extra couple of wrinkles, which we all have, he's the same guy.
I want to add something else to your list of Joe Biden. Compromised. Just saying.
Yeah.